To win 100 victories in 100 battles is not the acme of skill. To subdue the enemy without fighting is the acme of skill. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4. Today I thought we'd do a duo of achievements for the good old Soviet Union, in which we're going to try and fight a war by not fighting a war. So, without further ado, let's jump in. We're going to be going for a nice historical Stalin game. And of course, the classic bong. So before we set everything up, let's take a look at what two achievements we specifically are going for and what the requirements might be. So the first one is just propaganda, as the Soviet Union activate 30 propaganda campaigns before 1945. Pretty straightforward, but we're going to have some, let's say, well thought out political power use to make sure we get it. And then also the one below it, not a step back, as the Soviet Union never lose one core territory to anyone before 1945. Basically we're doing the before 1945 achievements together. I won't bore you too much with the standard setup of the Soviet Union because, well, a lot of it is about just deciding where you want to stick down some mills, preferably in places with good infrastructure and that sort of thing, and then setting up your army. Of course, the question might appear, now that you have set up a kind of army, where are you wanting to stick the army? And the answer, I'm afraid, is going to be Poland. Oh, and we should also get a nice NKVD up and running too, nice and early. So how do we intend to make sure that the Soviet Union doesn't lose any cores before 1945? Well, we know that Germany is coming after us, that's unavoidable, but that doesn't mean they're coming after our allies, and that is going to be the key difference between victory and failure. We're going to build a wall, and we're going to make the Polish pay for it. I really can't stress enough the importance of getting your NKVD up and running super early for this. We're not forgetting the other achievement we're doing, of course, where we need to do some propaganda campaigns. 45 of them means we should get an early start by getting the Egypt prop. Because operatives are going to be so important for us, I'm actually getting a super early start on NKVD primacy. And with that, I've built up a nice operative beginnings in Romania. Yes, unfortunately Romania does border us, and so that makes them a bit of an issue when it comes to making sure all of our cores are going to be defended. So that means Romania is probably going to have to come to our side. Picking up an elusive gentleman, that's one more operative slot. Oh, it looks like our economist and publicist is going to meet the chopping block. I'm sorry, my friend. I am happy to report that the first propaganda is being spread by Farewell. I guess that's Farewell Democracy in Romania. With Romania's spy network now fully underway, it's time to deal with Poland, and unfortunately this is going to have to be done the old-fashioned way, with a justification. Still, 120 days. That's not too long. If you find yourself with some supply issues when preparing to go to war with Poland, make sure that you're prioritizing things around where the supply hubs are. So you've got one here and well, don't ask me how to pronounce the name of the city, but you do have one here. And when you go to your supply map mode, just make sure you click on it to the best of your ability, and make sure you can stick it on trucks for your motorization level, which gives you far more supplies than if you were to use horses. Also, you can upgrade the bottlenecks if things are getting a little bit chugged up. With that being said, we should probably get started on the Agit prop. We have 45 posters we need to do. So let's say that's 5 times we need to do it. That means 9 posters over 5 times. It's 15 political power to do it, but the cost is multiplied by 2 every time we do it. Oof, this could get quite expensive quite quickly, couldn't it? Still, we better get started. Communism support in Romania is going up by an insane amount. It's almost like 25 a day or something ridiculous. We also unlocked our second Agit prop propaganda poster slot. Which one do we go for? Oh, standard research speed. That's pretty useful, right? The justification is complete. We are pretty, we could have done this a bit earlier, but to my mind, I really wanted to get the Romania stuff up and running super early because their ideology can flip like super quickly. Anyway, let's go in. My tanks are all set up for a blitzkrieg, and I've even got a naval invasion lined up with some mountaineers. It looks like we're landing, yep, in Danzig. My mountaineers are being a bit slow getting to this naval invasion, but they figured it out in the end. That's all that matters, right? The air is most certainly looking green, that's good to see. And the encirclements are most certainly happening. Just make sure to close up every encirclement you get. Ooh! And there we go. I wasn't quite paying attention when the final victory took place. Okay, so we always begin by stealing the navy. It's just such an easy thing to do. After that, I think we're going to make some puppets, because some wholesome puppets can work to our advantage. So, we need a Ukraine, and we need a Belarus. I don't see any reason that we should make the borders look disgusting, so I'm going to liberate that back to Lithuania, and let's see where we are. In the interest of continuing the liberation, let's liberate Kashubia, a nation nobody asked for to be liberated, and then for the rest of Poland, let's just puppet everything. Finally, I'm just going to add a few war reps on the tiles that have got more than 2, let's say. There we go, so that should be enough war reps to keep us going. After that, I think we're done. I will admit, it's a weird looking partition of Poland, but this is building up a barrier against the Germans, so we've got 2 layers of puppeted defence here, as well as Poland itself, and when they inevitably come for Danzig, we don't own it. It's got nothing to do with us. We have successfully avoided a Danzig situation. Okay, good news, we seem to have gotten all of our lads back to where they need to be again, so the ideology boosting can get back on track. And remember, we're always going to be clicking on these buttons whenever they're available to us. Some of them are becoming, well, they're not as useful, really, are they? We're not really using any oil right now, but the fact that we've got such a finite time period to get everything done in means we're just going to be clicking the buttons anyway. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Can they stop getting captured? Literally, you just start to rescue them and they instantly get captured. Oh, no, 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 no. We have found ourselves with an alt history scenario. So, what's happened is, because of maybe I had a little bit of fun in Poland, the world tension spiked to a 25%, and Britain has guaranteed China. At this point, things got very peculiar with the alt history, and Chiang Kai-shek has been arrested. Because of this, it is now within my interest to have the man executed. I am sorry, Mr. Chiang Kai-shek, but this could create some funny situations. It also means that when Japan goes after China, they're going to be very preoccupied with the Allies. Okay, this time for sure, they're definitely not going to get caught, right? Surely they're not going to get caught this time. This is beyond a joke. I believe that was about 2 days before that happened. 2 days. Japan declares the beginnings of the Sino-Japanese War, so that should all be going to plan, but the context with the Allies is probably putting Japan off a little bit. I'll take this time to say that God do I love the Comintern branch of the Soviet focus tree. It's just filled with so many things for you to just choose to go and do. Work with Japan, don't work with Japan, work with the Fash, work with the Democrats, a bit for Spain, a bit for your allies, all of your expansion to do with Europe as well as the Middle East. It's just got so much in here, such as the Gobi Gambit. I think it's stuff like the Gobi Gambit which are some of the best focuses in the game for flavour. The idea that you can just decide, you know what, I am going to make a Soviet China. I choose to do so. Xinjiang agrees to our proposal, so we should have a nice supply network being set up into our countries, right? Oh yes, I think it's this line here, isn't it? All the way into their capital, and thus begins a long process of trying to make them into the Soviet Chinese puppet. Make sure to keep calm and double check for not a step back that you still have met the conditions, that you haven't lost a state. That tick is very important. Without it, we're in quite a bit of trouble. Okay, we might have lost some good generals after the military conspiracy, but now we can behead the snake. I mean, I have no intention of beheading the snake. I don't really care about the snake, but I do care about boosting popularity in Romania. Why has all my progress disappeared? What a terrible thing has happened here. Guess we start again. They just killed one of my best agents. Are you serious? Oh my god, I am not a fan of the Romania this game. Well, the good news is at least we're back up to 40% on Romania. Don't do any more political stuff, Romania. Just accept you're going to be communist, and it's fine. We have successfully completed the Block of Rights and Trotskyites, and we can actually move on to doing fun things, like Baltic security, which was previously unavailable. Unless, you know, one of our agents gets captured and slows the whole process down. So the historical thing to do involving our lovely friends in the Baltics is typically the claims in the Baltics, which gives us cause on them and allows us to just annex them outright. But I actually don't have any desire to expand. My whole thing is about building a border against the Germans, so they can't even penetrate us. I'm not going to lie, the charm of constantly getting your spies captured, I'm not feeling it. I am not feeling it. This is, it's starting to get kind of anti-fun. There's not too much to commentate on in terms of the preparation of the Soviet Union, because I'm basically just building mills in places that I can find lots of building slots. But there's a kind of tension too, because if all goes to plan, then these units shouldn't really matter, right? Like, their goal is to hold the ports, and assuming we don't get navally invaded, I don't see an issue. As for the posters, I'm just clicking whatever comes up at this point. And finally, there is the small question of whether we should do a coup in Romania. Oh good, Lithuania and Latvia have joined the Comintern. Estonia isn't quite sure yet, but we'll give them some time. We got claims on Bessarabia, not really because I want Bessarabia, but for Balkan cooperation. Although they gave me Bessarabia anyway. Thank you. So we have come to a pivotal choice. The Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. By signing it, we do get a non-aggression pact with Germany. I'm pretty sure that's the outcome. But the thing is, we already own Poland. So giving them part of Poland kind of screws us up. I don't mind them going to war with me. I don't mind the Japanese having a provocation with me. All I care about is if I lose a state. Now that bothers me. Have I screwed my game on the Romania gambit? I'm starting to think I might have done. It's just that flipping them now is so insanely hard after the changes they made to the Romanian focus tree. I feel like they just flip-flop so much, it's insane. Okay, we have a Romanian civil war. Now, how are the sides looking? Ooh, unfortunately, they're about even, which means I think we're going to need to do well on the old giving them help. Okay, this is starting to look like an encirclement, I think. And the civil war just ended out of nowhere. Okay, I'm saying it. The amount of political power we now need to achieve everything is getting insane. Like, super insane. There's just so much we need to prepare to do at all times. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. This is the point where we lose the game. Really fun. Super fun. What a fun game. Wow, that is truly disappointing how close we came there. Meanwhile, I can't even afford to do the agitprop posters anymore. They're just too expensive. And we're not in a war, so... Oh, Turkey, you're just being annoying. Leave me alone. Welcome, Estonia. Is there any way to know how many posters you've done at this point? I'm just sat here. My game currently consists of clicking posters and making sure Romania doesn't join any factions. And I'm just hoping at this point that I haven't mucked anything up. Oh, they're about to turn fash. I'm afraid I don't really have too much to stop that right now. Hello? So, PCR becomes the ruling party. So just in the very final moments before the focus complete, I was able to make it so that the communism was higher than the fash. And they flipped communist. All of my life's work complete, I guess. Do not join the Axis. Are you serious? No. No joining any Axes. Did you see that? That they almost joined the Axis there? Now that is ridiculous. Joining the Axis. Who do they think they are? Of course I did kind of screw up taking one of these things as a result, but that's okay. Let's take a moment to say congratulations to Kashubia, who, with Alexander leading the way, have managed to maintain their neutrality as a democratic nation in the middle of this. I am afraid I am not so lucky, and the Germans are in fact on the way. The good news is that at least once we have a major declared on us, we can actually do some of these ridiculously cheap agitprop decisions as opposed to the insanely expensive ones all the time. Uh-oh, why has my third year plan been disrupted? Oh yes, that'll be the reason, right? Okay, so what is the situation on the ground? This is the war that we're currently in, and so far as I can see, the only front they stand to attack us on is this single tile here. This is literally all they have. So the question is, now that Romania's on our side, what's to stop us just doing that? Now what? Now what are you going to do? Huh? How are you going to get to me? Because as far as I can see, your only way in is navally invading me. I think they're in a wee bit of trouble when it comes to actually invading me now. And from here, begins the Great Wait, where we just have to make sure that we don't call anybody in, and we don't get navally invaded, while we keep doing our all-important posters, of course. And they're super duper cheap now. Japan wants a non-aggression pact. You know what? Yes. For some reason, Hungary didn't join the war against us. I actually don't know why. Just propaganda. As the Soviet Union activate... Where did you disappear to? Just propaganda. As the Soviet Union activate 30 propaganda campaigns before 1945. There we go. Wow. I guess we did that pretty well, considering I've literally just been spamming these buttons out as quickly as I can. I'm glad I don't have to worry about this anymore. Did you notice that it appears in the bottom right and it comes with a funky sound now? I guess that's a new Steam update. I think what I'm going to do now is, because this is basically a waiting game for the next 3 years, I'm just going to fast forward to see if I can AFK this to victory, to prove to you you don't have to fight this god-awful looking front if you don't want to. You can simply hide behind your friends. Well, I'm happy to report that things are actually starting to pick up again back in the war. Free France has now returned in Africa, and I think they're pushing Italy out of Libya. Nuclear reactors, you say? Nuclear bombs in 250 days, you say? Huh. Well, isn't that interesting? Why is Communist China winning this war so well? Oh, they own Sichuan with the 60 million manpower and 28 iron. They used that time to build up. I just have so much respect for how Communist China has pulled this back, basically on their own. They're also at war with the Allies, so this isn't a completely one fight for them. Good news, everyone. Nuclear bombs researched. Less than a year to go on the clock, and we've actually got some decent production of bombs 52 days away. On the record though, we are going to nuke Berlin. It's going to happen. I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. The atomic bombing of Berlin. Today I am relieved not to be a Berliner. It is good how all the main cities have a little unique tag for them. Ich bin eine Berliner for this one. I think the final thing I'll say before we get the achievement is when we're playing in this playstyle, it's actually pretty easy to really cripple countries like Germany down. They love to stack tons of units, like 16 units on tiles like this. So if you can try and get some air superiority and nuke them, you're taking tons of damage. So if we drop a nuke, we've currently done 160 casualties, and another nuke, and another nuke. And one more. We're now up to 313,000 just from that one nuking expedition. For the record, we've actually done more damage to the Germans just from dropping nukes on them than any individual allied country has done. So yeah, these nukes are quite painful. Not a step back, as the Soviet Union never lose one core territory to anyone before 1945. So, an unconventional strat perhaps, not what you thought it was going to be, but I'm telling you, just sitting here, the giant Iron Curtain isn't the worst playstyle in the world. And honestly, just building up nukes and just casually dropping a nuke on a 15 stack is a pretty fun way to play. So with that, I'll say thank you very much for watching. I hope this was somewhat interesting and can help you eventually try and form your own Soviet bloc and get all those achievements. If you liked, feel free to like, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Come on, give us another nuke, you know I'm good for it.